hear the crunch, guys? So yes, I swapped out a bag of chips with my homemade crisps to see if my family would notice the difference. You guessed it right, they immediately noticed the difference. But guess what? They decided to finish my crisps before asking for the original bag of chips. So let's get into this recipe. Have you ever wondered how many potatoes it takes to fill up a bag of crisps? Well, 3 is the answer. So we're starting with 3 potatoes. We're gonna start peeling our potatoes. Unless you're someone who prefers the skin on, then you can skip this step, but we're gonna peel our potatoes. So in actual fact, 3 potatoes ended up producing about, I'd say about a bag and a half of crisps. So it's actually more than just a bag. Dare I say almost 2 bags, but they didn't last very long, as I told you guys in the beginning. As usual, you'll find the recipe in the description box. Thankfully, today's tutorial is quite simple and you really don't need that much. So we're almost done peeling our potatoes. I'm gonna use a slicer to get our potato slices, and then I'll show you using the peeler as well. So this particular slicer, it has 3 different levels. It's got locked 1, 2, and 3. I used it in between locked and 1, and this is what I got. Because personally, I feel like when it's on 1, the slices are too big. Now, if you do happen to use it on like a level 1 slicer, then it just means you have to cook it a little longer and just be aware of the thickness of your potato crisps. So when you're cooking them, you cook them through and through. So we're getting some very nice slices. Lovely. And now I'm going to use the peeler to peel our slices. I purposely did it in the opposite direction, so in the final product you can also see the difference. I would say the peeler generates slightly thinner slices, but then the issue becomes keeping the potatoes leveled. So you'll see I end up using the slicer to finish slicing this particular potato, and I just end up carrying on with the slicer. Guys, I know you see that subscribe button popping up on the screen, so make sure you hit the subscribe button for more relatable content, okay? So I'm just gonna finish slicing up our potatoes and then we'll move on to washing them. So you absolutely want to wash them once you've sliced them and pour out the water for as long as it takes for you to get a clear bowl of water. Right? This is what we're going to work with. And we're going to pour this water and the potatoes directly into a heated pot for it to boil. Now, we're using regular temperature water here. And it's a bit of a parboil, but a little more than that. And we're going to let it actually reach boiling for about 2 minutes, no more than, and take our potatoes off. Here I'm adding some seasoning, some spices. I added some garlic powder and a bit of salt. Yes, because I did not want to have to season my potato crisps after I was done frying them. I wanted them to be infused with the seasoning already. So that was garlic powder and salt. Gave everything a good stir, a good mix, and we're gonna let this reach a boil. Now, this will take some time. You can see the lid of the pan steaming up. I started off on a medium heat, but I increased it later on. It took about 15 minutes to reach boiling, and then I let it boil for about 2 minutes. So I've sped up the footage, so you'll see the lid of the pot steaming up. So by now, I'm sure you're like, oh my gosh, Lady K, there's so many steps to this potato chip recipe. Yes, there are a few steps to it, but trust me, it's completely worth it. Once our potatoes are boiling, we'll take the potatoes out and we'll move on to the drying phase. Yes, the drying phase, not the frying phase. We're not there yet. The drying phase. If you're still here and you haven't, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. All right, you can see our lid is steaming up even more. It looks like we're about to make some progress. Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Our potatoes are boiling. 2 minutes and take those potatoes out. There you go. So that's known as a parboil, but normally you wouldn't let it reach boiling even, right? Just to make sure they're a little cooked inside, so when we fry, we finish off the cooking. So like I said, we're moving on to the drying phase. As you can see, I'm using a kitchen towel, laying each piece down. You may want to wait for it to cool down a bit. I did that straight away and it was quite hot. But in addition to that, they're also fragile, so you need to be careful during this phase. So we're gonna dry them on the kitchen towel, and then we're gonna get kitchen towels, paper towels, and dry them on there as well. Place them on a plate, grab another kitchen paper towel, put some more on there, fold it over, put it on top, continue the process. Once the kitchen towel is empty, put some more potato slices out of the basket onto the kitchen towel, dry it there first, and then paper towel on top, put the potato slices on top, and carry on. So again, I know you're like, Lady K, why do I have to go through all of this for a bag of chips when I can just buy one? And the answer is, it's completely up to you. But I do recommend you give this recipe a try, because I promise you, your family is gonna enjoy it, you're gonna enjoy it. And the steps may seem like a lot, but they're fairly straightforward, fairly easy, just about repetition. And maybe if it's just potato chips for yourself, just do one potato. You'll be amazed at the quantity you actually end up with. The last benefit for me, I'd say, is that you can customize the flavors. You can do paprika, you can put in herbs during the parboil stage. You can make those potato slices taste like whatever you want them to. So, completely up to you. All right, lovely souls, it's time for the frying. So any oil will do. I use sunflower oil here. I used a liter. You want there to be enough oil in the pan, and you want to leave the pan and the oil to get extremely hot. When you put your potatoes in, you don't want to put too many in at a time. I could have added a few more here, but you don't want to put too many in at a time. I would typically cover it, but I wanted you guys to see them frying. So that's essentially what's going on. So you'll just want to come in every so often and move them around. That will allow them to fry best. You can see they're starting to look like potato chips here, but you really want to make sure they're thoroughly fried before you bring them out. Otherwise, they will be flat. And we're trying to make crunchy, crispy potato chips here. So they're looking good, looking good. This is in real time, and here we are. Oh, lovely. And the second look. So you'll want to let your oil heat up again before you put your next batch of potato slices in there, right? This time I covered it for the process. Just allows it to cook faster and more evenly and more through. Remembering to still stir occasionally. So these are starting to look really good pretty quickly. I kind of lost the footage of them coming out of the fryer, but you'll see with the next batch as well, they came out golden brown. Okay, so this is the next batch. I'd say I fried about 7 or 8 batches. So definitely a labor of love, but one well worth it. So delicious. And there you have it, guys. Golden brown, crunchy, crispy, perfectly seasoned salt and garlic, and ready for your eating. Here we go. For storage, I just kept the extras in a Ziploc bag. As always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video informative. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and try this recipe out. Until next time, guys, stay safe. Bye.